Hey, Sean. I've been a certified drone pilot since like 2016 or something like that. I've taken my FAA test. I had to take my recertification, my recurrent knowledge test a year ago. And so I'm a drone pilot. This is what I do a lot of times for work. I'm hired not because of my creativity, but because I'm legally allowed to fly for profit. And so I've flown all around St. Louis. I've flown around the country. I've flown at Viking Stadium in Minneapolis. I've flown in Burkina Faso in Africa. I've flown in a lot of different places, and I've loved drones, and I've been using them for a long time, and I love the perspective that they add and what you can do with a story if you add a drone. But there's been this thing on the horizon that I've been interested in for a long time, and you clicked on this video because you already saw it. FPV. FPV drones I find fascinating, and the cinematography you can do with an FPV drone that you cannot do with like a DJI Mavic or Phantom or any of the DJI drones really. The stuff you can get, the places you can go, the feeling, the flow that you can get with a well-piloted FPV drone is incredible to me. It's mesmerizing, and I've disappeared into YouTube for hours just exploring some of my favorite pilots and what they do. People like Johnny FPV and Mr. Steele, and I've become a big fan of Joshua Bardwell and what he does for the community. And so I've decided to get into FPV, but it hasn't been smooth yet. And so here's my quick FPV story and where it's going. Let's rewind back to August 16th. On August 16th, I had watched a few of Gene Nagata's videos and the stuff he did with Robert McIntosh, where they built some drones and stuff, and he had a little advanced kit from BetaFPV. So I bought that kit. I bought it directly from BetaFPV because he had like a 20% discount or something like that. And I didn't get it through Amazon, and because of that, it took a little over a month to arrive. And so even though I was ready to start in mid-August, it was mid to late September that I actually received my drone, my little FPV Advanced Kit. And I charged it, and I bound it, and it didn't take off. And then I watched some videos about what I may have done wrong, and I fixed some things, I changed some things, and it couldn't take off. And the weird thing was, it worked. I could see the camera feed in the goggles, and like flipping the switches, I could change the mode on it from like acro to level mode and all these different things. But I couldn't arm it. It wouldn't spin the motors. It would not fly. And I went back and forth with BetaFPV support for 2 months. It was awful. But for 2 months, I was sending videos, and they were like, well, try this. And even though I'd already tried it, I had to try to get on video and show them and send that to them. Then I'd have to wait a week, and then they'd respond and say, well, try this. Nothing worked. So they ended up sending me a new flight controller for it. That's what they determined was wrong. And I got a kit because I don't know how to solder. I don't know how to do things like that yet. I wanted to get into it, see it, experience it, and then start to build there rather than like start from scratch and construct everything. But in spite of my fears, I got the new flight controller installed, and the exact same problem persisted. And I emailed their support again, and they started on step 1 with me of like, well, try this. And like, we've already tried all of these things. I was very frustrated with BetaFPV. Meanwhile, right around that same time as I'm troubleshooting this into early October, I'm watching some other things with Gene Nagata once again, and I decide I'm gonna do the Beta 95X V2 with, they have the naked GoPro on it, but I've decided I'm not gonna have the little camera. I'm not gonna have the little camera because I don't wanna destroy a GoPro to make it. I'm not good enough to do that. But the built-in camera can record, and I thought for my journey, for training, for vlogging, whatever I record on that little camera, which records digitally or wirelessly to the goggles, so it's not recording on board. There may be interference and stuff, but it'd be good enough for what I'm doing now, and it's less that could break when I crash. So I buy the 95X V2, and I'm flying, I take off, it works. I had to buy the batteries and the chargers, and battery and chargers is a whole big thing if you have not done that before. But I get all this stuff, I charge it, I take care of it, I learn how to do all of that. I'm able to take off, I fly around my backyard, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's so cool. But the problem is I can't see the stuff I need to see in my goggles. Like you're supposed to be able to see your battery level and your flight time and what mode you're in and stuff like that. And none of that's appearing in my goggles, in spite of following every instruction properly and redoing things a dozen times, resetting to factory settings and trying again over and over. And finally, Joshua Bardwell helped me personally, and I was talking to BetaFPV support, and I bought this 95X, not directly from BetaFPV because they were awful, but I bought it from GetFPV.com, who has been wonderful. But they sent me this factory sealed 95X V2, which didn't work. Not their fault. It was a faulty product that I received, but whatever was miswired or something was defective, it wouldn't give me the information that I needed to pilot it safely. So I had to send it back. And just adding to the complications, the United States Postal Service kind of sucks right now. And so it took a long time to get back. So it meant it was a while before they could like do my exchange because they didn't receive it for like 2 weeks. So it's mid-November now, and I get the next one. I get the Beta 95X V2 again. And this one arrives, and there's a cable. When I again, all factory sealed, I open it up, and there's a cable coming across it that is frayed, and it's exposed. And while inside it are two more insulated wires that actually have the connection, I think all of this exposed wire, which was pressed up against the metal flight controller, it was causing a short. And so I was able to take off once, but just in the bouncing as I took off, the video feed shut on and off, and it was not possible to fly. So that's my third BetaFPV drone, which has not worked. Technically my fourth BetaFPV flight controller, if I include that little bonus replacement. So I've had 3.5 BetaFPV drones. So I had to return this one. Again, GetFPV.com was fantastic, no problems. The Postal Service has sucked. I've asked them to pick up the package for a week now, and they keep saying, yes, they've picked it up, and they leave it on my porch, and they haven't. But just before I clicked record, the mailman came. He took the return, and he brought me what I ordered, which is the new Beta 95X V3. And what's exciting about the V3 is they changed a couple things after the modifications that most people made to the V2. They went ahead and built them in standard to the V3. They added some padding around the edge. It's a slicker looking drone. They've made some cool changes. And if it works like it should, this is going to be a great drone. It is currently still factory sealed. So I don't yet know. I have not taken off. But the other cool thing is they developed this in tandem with Insta360, and Insta360 released this tiny little camera with BetaFPV, which is essentially a naked GoPro, but with a warranty and not anything that I had to hack together and solder and do myself. And so these two things together will be, hopefully, if everything works properly, will be my ticket to finally being able to fly and getting good footage, which is going to open up this whole other category of some amazing stuff that I can capture, and another level and another layer that I can add to my videos. And I'm very excited about that. And so cross your fingers, because there's going to be a few videos coming up as I figure this thing out, and pray that it actually takes off and flies, and I don't have to keep sending these things back through the worst courier service imaginable, and dealing with currently the worst customer service I've ever experienced from BetaFPV, not from GetFPV.com. GetFPV.com has been amazing. They have had some limitations because of the manufacturer. They've been great. I have no qualms with them. But I also understand that it's a bit naive. This is now my 4.5 BetaFPV product. And I mean, they look like they should work. They are designed to work really well. I have struck out 3.5 times, and I'm hoping that this time I hit a home run. Is that a sports metaphor? Sure. Well, that's what I got for now. Stay tuned. And if you have any suggestions, if you've dealt with this before, if you tried things, learned things the hard way, I'm eager for any lessons you can save me. I've been spending a ton of time in the liftoff simulator and learning in mid-October, before my first 95X arrived. I started putting a bunch of hours into the simulator, so I feel comfortable with the physics of it and stuff like that. I just haven't really gotten to do it in real life yet until maybe this afternoon. We'll see. Thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.